What's going on, everyone? It's Sean with Marketing for Service Professionals, and today I have a super fun video. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of yard signs and how to maximize every single dollar you spend on your signs to make sure that you get the most amount of leads that you possibly can. As always, guys, all of this content that I put out on YouTube is absolutely free. All that I ask is to continue to support the channel. Please subscribe and like this video. It really helps the channel grow so that I can keep doing this. But let's just jump right into the yard signs. The very first thing that I want to address when we talk about yard signs is branding. I see it a lot in other Facebook groups, on Reddit, people talking about, should I put my logo? Should I put my website? And this video is going to be more geared towards people who are kind of in their first year of business to a couple years in business. They're a 1-2-man crew where branding isn't as important when it comes to yard signs. Now, I'm a branding guy. I own a marketing agency, and for all my clients, I specialize in branding, and it is very important, but there is a time and a place to focus on branding. And in yard signs, I don't believe that's the case, because at the end of the day, we are trying to maximize the amount of leads that these signs can generate. And the more that we clutter them up, the less likely we are to get a conversion, and I'll explain here in just a second. So I want to look at two examples. Obviously, I have one on the screen here, and then I have another tab where we'll kind of look at another one. Now, this is a design that I just found on Fiverr, and I've seen signs just like this. And I want to talk about why this isn't what you want on your sign, right? So let's just go ahead and dive into it. I want to break down this particular yard sign. First of all, I want to put yourselves in your potential customer's shoes, and you're driving down the road. Maybe you're stopped at a stoplight, and you see this sign out of the corner of your eye. Now, when you do that, the very first thing that you notice, if anything that you notice on the entire sign, is going to be that red banner at the top. And when I look at that, I see J&H Blast Off. Now, most of you guys, if you're still going out putting down yard signs, your brand's probably not huge to where, everyone in your community can recognize your company's name, right? So when I drive past this sign and I see J&H Blast Off, I probably don't know who that company is. And then I can kind of see the phone number, but I really don't get a good gauge of what they're doing or what they're offering, right? I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm definitely not, squinting and trying to look at all of these bullet points as to all the services that they provide. And I'm definitely not going to sit there and write down their email address, right? And that's kind of what I want to get at here. While branding is important, what's more important is that you generate leads from your signs, which leads me to this other example that I have for you guys. And this is really what your yard signs should look like. And I'll make one adjustment to it if it were me making the yard signs. Really big, bold letters as to the service, the primary service that you provide, and your phone number. It's that simple. You want to make this as easy as possible for people to realize what you're doing, and then a phone number to contact you, and that is it. Because again, people aren't going to recognize your name most of the time. We can have a whole other video about branding. They're not going to recognize your company name. They're not going to sit there and read all your bullet points. They're probably not going to your website or writing down your email. But what's really easy is for me to type in a 10-digit phone number because I saw a service that I actually happen to need. And so I pull out my phone really quickly at a stoplight and say, oh, pressure wash. I can call this guy. He'll come and pressure wash my house. The one adjustment that I would make here is I personally wouldn't have the website there, because again, if I'm driving by and I'm at a stoplight, there's no way I'm pulling out my phone and I'm going to sit there and type out www. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to pull out my phone, dial the phone number really quick, and either call it and end it so I can call it later, or call it while I'm driving, continuing on with my drive. I'm not going to go to your website. So the way that I see that is that's valuable real estate on that sign where I can make that phone number bigger and easier for a homeowner to give me a phone call. So now that I've kind of explained some of the do's and don'ts as to how to design your signs, let's talk about where you should be putting them. First and foremost, you should be putting them in every single customer's lawn that will let you put them there. And this is great for several reasons. One, when you put it in a neighbor's yard, more neighbors of the people that you just cleaned their house or whatever you've done for them, they're likely to call you because it's kind of like a social proof. You did that homeowner's house, you put a sign down, and the neighbor says, oh, they just had their house cleaned by this company. Let me give them a call. You're more likely to get referrals that way than somebody driving past your sign and taking it down. So number one, you should definitely make sure that you always have enough signs to put them in your customer's yard. Now, outside of putting them in customers' yards, I want to talk about where to put them out in public, because I see them put in the worst places. I just saw this the other day when I was pulling into Lowe's. Somebody had one like off to the side in like a little median area at the Lowe's parking lot, and I drove past it, and it was all real small text. But if you're putting them out in public places, make sure that you're putting them on the right-hand side of either a stoplight or a stop sign. putting them in, the middle of a boulevard where people are driving past at 35 miles an hour, or putting them on the left-hand side two lanes over isn't going to generate you any leads. And here's the thing, guys, like these signs are expensive. And from my understanding with yard signs, the average conversion is about four leads, right? So if you put down 100 signs, you're likely to get about 4 conversions out of that, or 4 leads, if you will. And by doing some of this stuff, you can maximize that. You could possibly get 6, 8, or 9. But when you start putting yard signs in places where people aren't stopping, where it's really hard to see your sign, or you make the text on your sign really hard to read, those conversions can go down to 0. So if you're having a lot of trouble getting and generating leads from your yard signs, you need to make sure that you're putting them in a place where people are stopped and can actually take the time to pull out their phone. Because I can tell you that 99% of these people, if they drive past your sign on the boulevard or in a Lowe's parking lot, I'm not going to put it in reverse, drive around, stop, hop out, and go down and take all your information. We need to make this process as easy as possible for these homeowners to reach out to you. So we know what goes on the sign. We know where we should put the sign, but when should you put signs down in public, right? So we know we need to put them in our homeowners' yards as soon as we complete a job. But the thing with putting them in public is you want to put them there on a time frame of like a Friday night or like a Saturday night. And here's why. Because if you go out on a Wednesday afternoon and start putting down yard signs in, public places, there can be, your competitors are going to be out there. They're going to see your signs, and we know that competitors will try to yank your signs when they can. But even more importantly is, somebody who works at a place, like let's say you put it at a stop sign that's in front of a Lowe's and it's in the right placement, and an employee looks out there and sees that sign, or the manager, he's going to say, hey, go out there and grab that sign. You can't have that sign there. When you do this on the weekends, like a Friday night or a Saturday night, your signs are less likely to get pulled until Monday or Tuesday, so you get more exposure with those signs. So instead of that sign being up for 24 hours, it might be up for 72 or even longer if you're super lucky. So make sure that you're putting your signs down at an optimal time. But yeah, most importantly, you want to put them down at nighttime, because in a worst case scenario, at least you can get 12 hours out of your sign before somebody sees it, and then they come out and yank your sign. So again, guys, I wanted to make this video because at least in my area, I've seen a lot of bad placements of signs. I've seen poorly designed signs, and I see questions about yard signs all the time in a lot of the Facebook groups that I'm in. So I just wanted to give you, a marketer's advice on what to do with your yard sign. So I hope this video really helps you guys out. I tried to make it really short and simple. Wasn't a lot to it. As always, guys, if you found this content to be valuable, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions about anything that I talked about today, let me know down in the comments below.